Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and whatever else is out there nowadays. My name is Soldier, and I am one of the admins here at Revolution Overwatch. I am proud and excited and super stoked to tell everybody that we have two great teams here tonight playing each other for the Division 3 Championship. They are Division 3, for those of you who don't follow our community or new here or might be just slightly dumb, is our lowest division right now. We have 3 divisions, 1, 2, 3, if you can count, and they are roughly like what? I think they're like plat to diamond. I think is the range there, and they have been playing for the past roughly 2 months. In a round-robin tournament, and now are in a single elim tournament bracket that they are now at the finals of. So these two teams are the ones that came out on top, so we get to see who is the best of the best tonight. We also are happy to say that we are offering a prize pool for this tournament / season end as well for every division for the top team of each division. So these two teams tonight will be battling it out for a big whopping $75, which in American money is probably not a whole lot of money, but it's actually $75. So hopefully one of these teams can appreciate the prize pool. I am joined tonight by 2 casters. We got one brand new one that's been a member for a very, very long time, and a newer caster, but he's been with us for at least a few weeks now, I think.
It says I have my 2-month sub.
Is that what it is?
In chat, it says,
wow.
Subscribed at Tier 1, 2 months.
Okay,
I was
so he's
there.
been here for 2 months. Wow.
I've been here longer than most expected.
Well, if you don't recognize that unique voice, that is Thoth God. And he is going to be your play-by-play tonight, which I need to swap that around. Typically he does color, but there's been some changes, and we're doing.
I'm feeling the black and white movies today.
Yeah, there you go. And we're joined by, as I said, a longtime member and first-time caster for us, Koner. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hey! I'm glad to be here. Ready to have fun.
Now, let's see if these
He's
teams
already
are
a
ready.
professional.
Yeah. Just by the way, how fast I talk?
But I am the play-by-play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is...
I'm ready to give my unique opinions on things.
Yes, and I'm definitely going to listen to them because I am contractually obligated. But I'm excited for a very, very obvious reason. Because I do not remember either of these teams. I usually am put into casting Div 1, so Div 3 has not received my equal amount of love. I wish I casted more Tier 3 games, but for some reason, I was never put in them. Pepe. But either way, I'm definitely excited because this is the finals, and this is for money, and money is why we do this anyway. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see these two teams as Div 3. Often, we look at it as the lowest division as the worst players, but in reality, these are the best of the lowest division, and it's definitely arguable that some of these teams will be moving to Div 2 next season because they made it this far and they've performed well enough to get to this point. But only one of them can take home $75 divided by the amount of players.
Yeah, I'm
That's a
excited
lot
to
of money.
see Waypoint play. I've seen them play one of the teams that I coach, Power Wranglers, in the past. They're a pretty good team, and I'm excited to see how far they've come since about like the middle of the season when they played us. And I'm excited to see what Crimson has to offer. I've watched, I think, a game of theirs, but can't remember it. But I'm excited to see what both teams put up.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, when it comes to our FTA from the Ashes Crimson, obviously an academy team of the Div 1 team from the Ashes, they are trying to show themselves as not just the baby team here. They want to let everybody know that they are still a contender just because they are that academy-esque team. Even in the same division, sometimes academy teams get overlooked as, oh, well, that's just the baby version. That's where they threw the players who are not as good. But these players, if they build synergy really well, and they've had an entire season to do it and performed fairly well, then that synergy can even be just enough. What I'm really going to be looking for is I want to look for tank compositions mostly. Tank compositions right now are everything in the 2-2-2 meta. And my favorite composition, Ghostbusters, which runs Rein Zarya. It runs a DPS and a Symmetra, and then it runs a Lucio Moira. Ghostbusters because you've got three of the beam heroes in the game.
Targets.
You have the beamers.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got all three. The Ghostbusters comp is one thing that I really like. It has shield break with the sim, good area of effect healing for the Moira, and Zarya, if at a high energy, doesn't really die, and the shields are broken by the sim. So a lot more of your beam is going into actual damage rather than that shield break. It makes the Rein Zarya a lot more effective, and then you put a Lucio with that to really run into people. So I'm hoping to see constant swaps. I'd said in a previous stream that really the tank swaps, the main tank rotation is really Winston beats Reinhardt, Reinhardt beats Sigma, Sigma beats Orisa, and Orisa beats Winston. That's kind of how the rotation is going right now. And building a composition around those tanks that not only you can execute on a win condition, having a win condition, of course, you can execute on that and really push that in for a win. So I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the tanks, and I would recommend that you do too.
Yeah, I definitely think the tank play is going to be really, really big in this meta right now because pretty much the entire comp is going to be based on the map. Not only just the main tanks, but the map especially. And we're going to see that a lot on Nepal here, especially on this map. This map is really, really, really good for Orisa comps, especially with Mei and Reaper, so we should be seeing a lot of that, as well as probably a Lucio to help get to point and get them in position faster than the other team.
Yeah, I mean, we've even seen the tricky sim play here. We're not only using the sim, sometimes not even in the comp, but just for that teleport to give you that little bonus speed when we're talking about mirror compositions. It'll be interesting to see if either of those teams do use that, but so far, I mean, when it comes to Nepal, let's remember you have to win 2 points, and obviously this is only going to be the first. Our next 2 points are, one is very similar, very open as well, the other very different. So, of course, talking about Sanctum and that. But Village, my favorite Nepal map, because I can't get booped. That's really what I hope for. Well, I guess you can at the back.
It's really interesting that we're seeing Orion comp come out. I wonder if they're going to go up top and try and like battle for that high ground first, or they're going to just go straight to point. I imagine with the sim, they're going to want to go straight to point first, but
they're running the Ghostbusters with the Sombra.
Sombra is a weird pick for me. I think you need a little bit more damage to pressure shields with, especially with this kind of comp. We'll see how it works, though. They might get a cheeky little hack off.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an isolationist comp, and we can see they're going right to the objective. They aren't even going to be playing this as the aggressive comp. They won't even be playing it that aggressively, and they will be swapping to a Moira now. It's very interesting. But either way... Oh, I've got him backwards. Either way.
It's a very good wall to block off main from that hack that was placed in the front line to help give the tanks a little bit more space.
Yeah,
and very good control here. Yeah, by Crimson, they're just wanting to take that point, get that ticking, get the point. We see the sim turrets coming out now.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of damage going to be put in. Eliba is going to go down, and his fellow tank of Papa also going to go down with no front line. Very hard now to really hold this point. But even though they are going to lose here, they do manage to accrue 24% of the objective, practically for free. Their composition doing a very nice rotation, but if they lose this first fight, they'll be at a disadvantage anyway. So a little buffer room, but still have to be wary of the ultimates, such as Wacko with that EMP. Even though we aren't in Goat's meta anymore, still a very valuable ultimate. Still hacking multiple people, still going to really give your team that engagement that they really need. But we'll be starting off with a sim wall from King Nick and a cap.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. They let this red team get on points so much faster than they can just block them off from getting all that free space. They just kind of held the high ground for way too long, and they just get a free shatter into a Reaper ult, and it ends right there. Just way too much damage coming out, way too much space that they just got for free from them trying to hold the high ground for way too long. They need to keep that point and not let the enemy team on point for free and make them work for it.
Yeah, definitely. You can see high ground advantage, very beneficial, but if the enemy team's on the objective at the end of the day, you're not the one that's winning. And because they capped at the beginning of the fight and won, they now moved from 23% all the way up to 60%. So a lot of that fight not actually going in the favor of the team that was trying to defend the point. But an EMP comes in, followed up by a shatter. It's not going to get anything, it seems.
Really weird interaction right there.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting comp, but nobody has gone down yet. Bagelfire, right as I say that, is going to go down, but a trade back. Wacko onto the Lucio. And now, Point just stalling it out. Remember, 85% is what we're looking for, and they're going to be able to get to 85%. That means they are in one-fight territory. And with the way that their composition has been stalling things out, they've been winning these pretty well. A nice Graviton's going to come in. Elijah going to get a nice charge through, and they're going to hold the point, and with only 95 left, only staggers might be able to touch, but we'll see. Sombra going to be able to touch there. A Mail thrown on to prevent any invisible Sombra, and that's going to be the point going over to the side of Waypoint.
It was Crimson that won that. Waypoint,
okay,
yeah, sorry. But I think Waypoint made a little bit of a mistake. They really needed to give that sim point to help get like those inside turrets on point, just to make it that much harder to cap the point, like get their space on the point. They needed to have that space on point so that they had the enemy team working for it a lot harder. They had a wasted ult in the Zarya. They built it up all map, but just couldn't find a way to use it. They needed it to like use it as like a counter ult for their Zarya ult, because I don't think they really had a plan for it. They didn't have any defensive ults to help prepare for that, you know? So, I mean, the only way to help against that is just you got to get that Zarya ult as a defensive ult at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And making sure as well, you don't want to hold on to ultimates too long, because if you hold on to it too long, you could have belted another one. Bad ult or good ult, using ult is important. But we can see a very brawly engage coming through. Another Symmetra pick on the side of King Nick. Definitely really favoring this Symmetra here. But Wiz gonna be able to get 2 with that Reaper. Blowing through the tanks. King Nick will get him, but only to as a trade. And that is going to be them losing the point. Mudkip with 2. And then the Pharah's dead as well. They're running the Pharah. They are running it with a Mercy, but their Mercy goes for the res, and that means there's no healing for the Pharah, no pocket. Now Moira's down, the stagger's very, very bad.
I'm interested to see what this Fair is targeting right here. They got 75% of their ult, but it didn't seem like they confirmed any kills really. They need to focus that backline, get the Ana, or get the Baptiste, get the Lucio, focus something small down so that he gets value out of all this damage that he's putting into the enemy team. Because right now they have this Baptiste and nothing's gonna get past that Baptiste's healing unless everyone's on that one target, but it's pretty hard.
But an early invulnerability matrix is going to be used. If they can burn that down, that'd be nice, but Window's going to be used in sort of a defensive way. A Pharah ult from all the way out will force beat, but won't find anything. Now, her own Maywall blocking Shatter, going to be able to get Zarya, but now they're down 2. And that means that Crimson is still going to be able to win this fight, it looks like. They're going to pick up Beluda with Wiz. Reaper able to win in these close quarter fights. But King Nick, another one. A nice res onto Beluga, and that looks like it's going to be becoming the flip, actually. Waypoint going to be pulling out this fight.
I'm gonna give props to Mudkip from the rest of this map, but that wall kind of ruined that take for them, or the defense for them. He's been playing really well and getting these really big walls, getting them at the exact right time, blocking off the enemy team from getting onto point whenever it's a crucial moment, splitting off enemy team. He's just been playing this wall game really, really well. But unfortunate that he kind of whiffed right there on the defense.
Yeah, and Alaki having to use his invulnerability matrix just during the rotation. Very long cooldown for that ability, which means this Pharah spam is going to be too much. Papa going down, a nice Shatter coming through. Quick cleanup from the side of Waypoint. I mean, they took so much damage from the Pharah that when the Reinhardt tries to swap to go and deal with that Pharah spam, that barrage pressure, I mean, he can't shield the Shatter, and then his whole team gets knocked back. He doesn't have the Baptiste invulnerability, or lamp as we like to call it. So there's just not enough sustain on their side, and that's going to be a very quick fight, quick cleanup, and tie up in the percentage points for Waypoint. This is a closer one.
This is a very smart rotation by them. They know that they can't just walk out in that huge open area for the Pharah just to bully them the entire time. So they're going up right side, hopefully going to get a little bit more push, but it looks like they have just way too many ults. They used a lot of ults trying to secure that, and thankfully the Pharah got a couple kills. We got the Moira getting value out of her coalescence. Easy win.
Yeah, a lot of work, and if you look on both sides, committing a lot very quickly. I've noticed a lot of these fights for these teams have been very much either zero ults or all of the ults. A lot of Qs pressed in unison. But either way, this is going to be the last fight. Waypoint wanting to take it to a third map, take it to everyone's least favorite environmental point, or at least my least favorite. But Graviton going to be thrown out, invulnerability matrix going to be able to keeping it up, and a Mail going to come through, going to mean Bagel's down, the Pharah's down, Symmetra's down as well, taking a 6v3 now. Surely they're going to be able to flip the point off of this. Valk popped by Wacko, but it's not going to be enough to keep them in the fight or give them the point, and that's going to be a flip.
And that's the true strength of this Mail. The grab, just throw it onto the enemy team and they all get frozen, you know? Like, if they're not positioned well for that Mail, there's no way that they can capitalize on any, like, aggressive ults, like a grab or a shatter, you know?
Yeah,
Very
definitely.
well played by Mudkip.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of means of using that ult so defensively that all of the people trying to follow up on that grab, get that aggressive push, they all get punished because now they're out of position for the Mail. We can see Mudkip here playing by himself, kind of off in the corner, but he's got that Mega there. He's got his wall to keep him out. He actually decides to run away here, but a Shatter comes through and it's going to get 4. Oh, that's going to be cleanup, and this looks like Waypoint all of a sudden going from looking pretty nice to getting cleaned up. And that's going to be.
It's unfortunate that they swapped off. It's unfortunate they swapped off the Pharah for the Soldier. It was really working. They were getting a lot of value out of that free, like it's such a wide map. Pharah gets so much value, but Soldier just doesn't get enough value, especially against Orion. It's just a movable shield and blocking off all of their backline, and he's not able to get any sort of real damage on the enemy team.
Ooh, Shatters traded back and forth, but Eliva just a little bit quicker on the draw there. And that's going to not only land a 4-man Shatter, but also deny the Shatter of Bagel, which is something we didn't even notice. And I mean, you know, we talk about Sim and this beam composition being very, very powerful. And you could see how it was sort of meant to work. A lot of beams, kind of a counter to Diva almost, because you can't eat it. Sigma does not do very good against this comp as well. But they just don't have that sustainability that they need, because the longer the fight goes on, the Moira runs out of that healing, has to start doing damage, and that's those chances, those little windows where you can see Crimson just push right in, and that's really what got them this first map.
I'm definitely gonna have to agree there. I think that the right call was probably to pick up an Ana instead of that Moira. They could have the value out of just getting that Rhino during a grav using the nano, just him swinging in that grav, hopefully getting up another shatter, or even just like out of it. Like they don't even need the grav to just throw it on the Ryan and let him be really aggressive, getting the Pharah to boop someone into him so he gets an easy pick off, gets enough damage for another shatter, you know. But I think the Moira was a little bit too uh long. Like Moira is better the longer the fight lasts, right? But Ana is more of a mid-fight character, and the mid-fight is where that kind of comp kind of succeeds at, because they have so many abilities that help them at the beginning of the fight, but their abilities come up during mid-fight, but not necessarily late fights. I don't know if that makes too much sense, but it's interesting to. It's definitely an interesting choice, but I think that they definitely needed that Ana for the Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, on a bit of what we would call greedy heals, not a lot of mobility. In fact, no mobility at all. Only thing to protect themselves is nade and sleep dart, but if you have to throw a nade at the ground and a sleep dart onto a target on top of you to punish a flanker, it's all right, but those are abilities that aren't going to supporting your team and make your effectiveness in sustaining your team and protecting your team a lot weaker. And if you're able to get those advantages, we didn't see any flankers really for either of the teams besides, I guess, Reaper. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely that second point. That definitely the second point is mostly what I'm talking about. Like whenever they didn't have too many flankers besides the Mei, but like a sleep onto a Mei is really really good. Just getting a kill on a Mei in general is really really good in this meta, and really good like a good Nancy blocks off a ton of healing whenever there's a Baptiste on the enemy side, right? Like they can throw up their invulnerability field, but that just gives you the go to really press into them. Like you can just run W mouse 1 into the enemy team and get a bunch of value, push them out of the invulnerability field, and a well played Ana in that point does a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Especially a well-placed nade can really turn the tides of a fight or give your team something to engage on. Invulnerability Matrix, obviously, keeping everybody inside of its surprisingly small area alive for the last of its 300 HP, but you can still get run over pretty easily, and if you get pushed out of that circle, then you're free game, so keeps you alive, but doesn't exactly keep you up. But it looks like we're going to be moving to a much brighter map, a much happier map. We went from a winter wonderland to the desert, apparently, going on to Route 66, which is one of the maps that I feel like a lot of people underrated when the game first came out. This was actually my favorite map when it came out.
This is one of my favorite maps too. One of my favorite escorts, other than Dorado, I think. There's so much opportunity for high ground plays, like especially with Hanzo. If you have a Pharah on second point, that's pretty good. I think on first point on attack, it's pretty good. And then I always love double sniper comps, so I'm hoping to see something like that this map.
Yes, I've always said that Widow, one of my favorite things to watch. I just hate playing it. It's not very fun for me. But I love watching the Widow, especially the Widow duels are always my favorite. It's fun to see one Widowmaker have all that space and room clicking the heads, but it's even more fun to watch when they have to be wary of each other. Watch the brains go at it, not just the aim. That's right, Widowmaker takes brain, I swear. But either way, both of these compositions looking very interesting, as we can see on the defense here. Going to be running an Orisa Diva, a much more standard composition for Orisa. Bit of a pick comp, but they are going to be running that Sombra again, really favoring this Sombra over many more practical picks almost. A Mei is very common in this comp. So we'll have to see how this works for them, but on the attack, that looks like double shield to me.
This Sombra could be really big against this Sigma pick. Like ideally, the Sombra is going to get a lot of value just hacking that Sigma, and like, even though they have the Orisa shield, which is definitely more than enough shielding, but like not having any sort of like value out of another tank in the tank line is going to be really big for the enemy team, and he's just so susceptible to hacks.
Yeah, and especially if they do manage to lose a fight, a double shield, it dies very quickly to Symmetra, wondering why she's back in the meta. Here you go. But Maywalk going to be able to cut off Papa. He's going to die, but at the cost of Bagel. But it looks like now the tank line down. Close going back and forth on the flank. Mudkip going to find the Ana, but then they lose their own Ana. Mudkip killing the other support as well. Grundy going to be cleaning up with that primary fire. And I do like me some Sigma. I'm not a supporter of the double shield. I think people often use it, and it's not the most beneficial of the Sigma compositions, but you can see here the effectiveness having so much block means that it's really hard to do any damage to the tanks, and Sigma able to live so long, even without a shield, having his left shift be able to eat everything in sight, including Roadhog hooks. So, I mean, so much sustain, gives that primary fire time to really build up the damage, gonna give them the first fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Reinhardt can be a really good pick here because he allows you to play really aggressive into Sigmas, and that's not what Sigma wants. He wants you to give him space and like him to be aggressive on you and make you respect him, right? But I don't think that it's pretty good, especially running into this Mei. I think that this Mei is going to give them a lot of trouble in the front line, but it looks like they're just going to get that huge EMP, get all of that damage, and just run straight into the enemy team, and they have no answers for that.
Yeah, disabling all of those abilities means that nobody's going to be able to Crystal. No one's going to be able to keep themselves alive, taking too many damages, all of the damages. But a bomb going to be thrown on point. Not going to get anything, but Sigma shield was left out, which means now there is no Sigma shield. Now this Bastion has no shielding, also hacked. So Bastion play hasn't even seen the turret yet. Gonna get nano boosted, but he still hasn't been able to go into his turret mode. Just trying to get to the payload, but it's running away from him. But they're gonna be able to win the fight without him even going into that turret mode. Seems as they're trying to clean up the staggers here, as Eliba trying to keep everybody alive. But now they're staggered into this small area. The Bastion may not be able to see them, but everybody else can. Quickly enclosing on top of them, Papa trying to come back down, and now taking this fight in, but a nice EMP. The Shatter going to be blocked by the Mei, a good Sigma ult there, and now you can see both back and forth. The EMP, the Bastion, just trying to do anything. I mean, it's been in the fight for about a minute, only halfway to their ult. Some very good outplay coming out for Eliba's team. Very, very impressive, in my opinion. Waypoint doing a lot of work here, but will it be enough? It seems so. They're going to be able to push through. And now I need friends down, Mudkip down, Eliba down, Papa down, and that's going to be the fight.
I definitely think that they need some other... This is a very good pickup. They need to go dive for this Bastion. They need to uproot it. They need that Genji to just build up Blade fast. They need these Nano Blades, and they need to get more value out of these EMPs, because right now this Rein Zarya won't be able to get enough space in order to... I guess the Rein Diva won't be able